تو ان کو کہتے ہیں کہ ایئر کموڈور ریٹائرڈ. تو ان کے دماغ میں بہت سارے نام آتے ہیں اور ان ناموں میں سے کس کو چوز کرنا ہے ابھی ان کو یہ پتہ نہیں ہوتا. اور اگلی بات کرتے ہیں کہ somebody who had 3,000 flying hours, تو وہ اس براڈ بیس سے تھوڑی سی بیس شرینک ہو جائے. پھر آپ بیس کمانڈر قرآن کی قریب کی بات کرتے ہیں تو کچھ نام اور آ جاتے ہیں, کچھ نکل جاتے ہیں. اسی طرح ایئر وار کالج لے لیں آپ ٹرکی کا, یا آپ اس بات پہ تمغہ امتیاز لے لیں, تمغہ رسالت لے لیں, جب وہ چیزیں آپ ایڈ کرتے چلے جاتے ہیں تو بہت سے نام اس فہرست سے نکلتے جاتے ہیں اور وہ فہرست جو ہے وہ نیرو ڈاؤن ہوتی جاتی ہے. تو ایک شعر تھا, میں نے جب اس شعر کا مطلب یہ تھا کہ جب آپ کچھ نہیں کہتے تو غلط فہمیاں بڑھتی ہیں, اور غلط فہمیاں نہ بڑھانے کے لیے آپ کو سنانا, بتانا اور سمجھانا بہت ضروری ہے. اور یہ سنانا, سمجھانا اور بتانا ہر کسی کے بس کی بات نہیں ہے. اسپیشلی اگر آپ پچھلا 1 سال 2 سال دیکھیں تو ناٹ اونلی پاکستان ایئر فورس امیج, پاکستان کی پوری ڈیفینس کا امیج, پاکستان اٹ سیلف ایویشن کی طرف جاتا ہے. اس وقت ایک ایسے انسان کی بہت ضرورت ہے جو سنائے بھی, بتائے بھی, سمجھائے بھی. اور وہ کوالٹیز جو ہیں وہ بڑی ایک منفرد کوالٹیز ہیں جو ہم, یہ تینوں چیزوں کو ایک سیکوینس میں لے کے چلنا بہت مشکل بات. اور وہ چیز جو ہے وہ جو ہمارے چیف گیسٹ ہیں جن کا انہوں نے تصویر بھی لگا دی, یعنی کوئی سسپینس نہیں چھوڑا. تو میں زیادہ ٹائم نہیں لوں گا, میں صرف
چھوٹا سا, کیونکہ آپ 11 ٹائم بھی انہوں نے دیا بتانے کا, تو یہ بتائیے کہ اتنی اچھی ٹیلنٹ آپ نے اتنی جلدی آپ لوگوں نے کیسے کھڑی کر لی یہاں پہ؟
سر یہ اللہ کا فضل ہے. کل جب سر نصرت نے بتایا تھا تو ہم سارے 2 نفل نماز کے پڑھ رہے تھے کہ بندے اکٹھے ہو جائیں, تو اللہ کا شکر ہے ہو گیا. یہ سارا کریڈٹ سر نصرت صاحب, ویری گڈ ویری گڈ. یہ سارا کریڈٹ سر نصرت کا ہے, جسٹ بیکاز آف ہم ہمارے پاس ماشاء اللہ اچھی گیدرنگ ہوگی. اور سر میں زیادہ ٹائم نہیں لوں گا, میں نے بنائی تو لمبی فہرست تھی لیکن انفارچونیٹلی, تو پلیز گیو اے راؤنڈ آف اپلاز سر پلیز.
Honorable ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. And I'm overwhelmed with the kind of words which are or which have been just used in my honor. And I really feel indebted, and I pray that I live up to your expectations, because obviously on a working day, you've gathered here on an evening, and that too, that is being said at a very short notice. I also feel privileged to see some honorable ladies, obviously, who are not apparently very keen to learn about the air power, which is obviously mostly men-dominated area. But I'm grateful to the people. Just last 30 seconds to compliment Scholar Nusrat and my dear old colleague, friend, seniors, Suhail Pasha, who were the instrumental in arranging all this when they learned about it. But I have little contribution in the recent conflict in India and Pakistan. I'm super excited to hold this event, and obviously it shows it all that how much honor they have. And I come second in this, because my name is not known to many people, but obviously what tells me is that when he announced and invited everybody, that's kind of gesture, that love and affection you have for him, that's very visible. And Sir Suhail Pasha, obviously. Pardon me because of the shortage of time, the name that already Iskander Afaq took, I may not be able to repeat. And I'm also thankful to Iskander Afaq. I have to pause for a millisecond to make sure that I pronounce the correct rank at least. So I'm really indebted to you all for joining this evening. And I hope and pray that I live up to what you have in mind, expectations. I am not here to plead the case of Pakistan Air Force. Let me be very clear. सर नुसरत को मैंने दोपहर को कहा था कि सर ये जो स्पोक्समैन वाला लफ्ज़ ना बोलिएगा, बट देन ऑब्वियसली मैंने 3 महीने में नहीं बोला किसी मीडिया पे, लेकिन सर ने इधर बोल दिया और मुझे खतरा ये है कि मेरे राइट हैंड पे जो मीडिया का लोग हैं वो अभी पाकिस्तान में थोड़ी देर बाद चला जाएगा। तो बड़े स्मार्ट बनते थे 3 महीने से, तो हमें पता लगा। तो anyway, ये इसको कर दीजिएगा जी, अगर रेटिंग वाली ऑप्शन हो, अगर आई डोंट क्लेम दिस एट ऑल, बट आई वाज प्रिविलेज्ड एंड ऑनर्ड दैट Pakistan Air Force throughout the war or conflict was sharing with me their actual data, the live updates, and I had the privilege to break most of the information to the media during the war, and even the aircraft which were shot down 6-0, I had the honor to be told first to share with the media. And obviously at that time the video was only showing askari zaraए से 2 जहाज तबाह, फिर वो askari zaraए से 3 हो गए. So when I called Badami at almost 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. almost on 7th morning, because I was in the media for almost 40 hours without sleeping. He asked me, should I break the news? I said yes. He said, are you sure? We are only knowing about 2 to 3 aircraft and you are. I said, I take the responsibility, no one else. So that's the privilege that I got during all this conflict. But let me start on a little away from Pakistan and India. And this is a war which lasted for 21 years. Which side must have won the war? The blue circle had almost 33 lakh men and women killed. And the red circle had only 58,000 killed. And you would guess, obviously, which side should have won logically. Obviously, the red side should have won. This was Vietnam War, 1954 to 75. And USA still lost the war. And obviously, the reason you would all be interested to know is why. Because I believe if your cause is unjustified, your war is unjustified. If your cause is based on unjustified reason, your war will also not be justified. And if the war is not justified, your performance, especially of the armed forces, will not be justified.
Yes.
You first have to have the justification in the minds and hearts of the people and the forces. This is the reason, because the Americans were fighting for the hegemony, for the control of the area. It was a Cold War. They wanted to suppress Soviet Union then. They wanted to show their monopoly, their relevance in the world. They were fighting only for victory. On the other hand, Vietnamese were fighting for their survival and their cause. Same you can replicate in 2025. I'll move forward. Why are the wars fought? There is a Chinese thinker which was there 2,500 years back. His name was Sun Tzu. His name was Sun Tzu. And he said the wars are fought for national interest, for inflicting damage, to compel somebody else to do this, to stay relevant in the global politics. This all was applied here also. What happens is, the global perspective in those days is, I don't want to go into much of details, but you'll agree that America was in kind of trade war with China and other countries. I believe, I could be wrong, but this is my opinion, that China and a US confrontation gave an opportunity or encouraged Indians to become more relevant and make Pakistan, which was already less relevant, least relevant or irrelevant. This is how it started off. Let me introduce Indian Air Force. They have 52 air bases, and some of them were hit later on, which I will indicate to you. This is the Air Force which has about 1,000 jet fighters. Needless to go into details, but you would be more interested to see this aircraft. 36 of them. And almost, I confirmed it from Pakistan Air Force, there were about 33 aircraft flying on that night, 7 morning. This is MiG-21 Bison. Why I'm showing you this was the aircraft of Abhinandan. I thought I'll refresh your memories. And then they have Tejas, 40 of them. Let me quickly add here that these are the aircraft which were conceived to be manufactured by India in 1985, just about 40 years back. And today they have 40 aircraft in Indian Air Force. And during this war, they were deployed close to Sri Lankan border, never took part in a Pakistan-India conflict. 40 years, 40 aircraft. Pakistan thought of making JF-17 Thunder, which I'll talk about later, in 1995, 10 years after this aircraft was conceived. In the last 30 years, today Pakistan has over 200 JF-17 Thunders, which actively took part in this war. This is the location of Tejas being deployed during the war. They never came close to our border. These are the refuelers and other support aircraft. This is the famous or infamous BrahMos missile that they fired upon Pakistan. This can be fired, by the way, from the three surfaces, from the air, from the ground, from the sea. And then they have Barak, which is Israeli missile, which was installed on the ships, basically. Now coming to Pakistan Air Force.